Rightio, New Zealand show. Very, very different New Zealand show. Today going to have some New Zealand content, but it's going to be all from Australian people. Emmett Bronson joins me firstly after the win of Murray Law. Emmett, firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
Took out the, for those who aren't aware, took out the Group 1 Australian Trotters Championship Saturday night at Bendigo with a horse that's a bit of a recent acquisition to the stable, although you have had him for a little while, but lightly raced for you guys in Murray Law.
Yeah, we've probably had him for maybe around the 12-month mark. But yeah, it's just been a process of, we had a start earlier in the year, maybe not quite 12 months, but had a start earlier in the year, and then, he's had a few little issues that we've had to overcome, but he seems to be over those at the moment.
Yeah, well, I was going to. We'll start on that. We'll get onto his win in a second. But you had one start. I've got it there in front of me, the 23rd of January, and then didn't come back to the 3rd of July. And then obviously you had him a little bit before that as well. He has a few little issues. Are they anything major?
They can turn into that if he's properly. He had a few sort of issues with his feet and with me anyway, and so I thought rather than try to do catch-up jobs or anything like that, I thought I'd just try to get the horse back to 100%, which I think has probably turned out to be the right move. Now the way that he's racing at the moment.
Yeah, he's a very exciting horse. He's a half to I forgot her name. She's in Sweden. I know Maritime.
Maritime.
Yeah, he's very well bred out of the Sundon mare, which a lot of the Kiwis would know, and it's really standing the test of time as far as winning trot races, especially here in Australia. You don't see too many trot races now where Sundon's not in that dam side somewhere along the line. So he's very, very well bred, and he was a very well performed horse, but he just went missing a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He probably has had those hot and cold patches right through his career, but when he is well, he's always, for everyone that's had him, he's performed really well. So I was kind of lucky to get on for him at the point that I have, and he's a big mature horse now. So I was just fortunate to obviously get my hands on him and get to enjoy racing him.
How did you come to get him? Because Fred Cruz owns him, and for those, a lot of people aren't aware, Fred's a very passionate person, and he shares his horses around a little bit, but he's very loyal to Billy Morgan. Bill Morgan's had vast majority of his horses for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. I think Bill Morgan wasn't going to be going on training at that point. I think was my understanding, and so he was looking for a similar setup where, like, not a massive team where you have to allow for having to do a bit more one-on-one stuff with him. And my sister Virginia, she's a bit for probably most of Fred's horses, so it kind of just worked out that way that my name came up, and I was available to be able to take him.
I'm tipping Fred's very happy he did. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, him and me both.
Now, you have a slight twang to your talk. You are a Kiwi. You said to me just there before you came out here in 2009. When you're in New Zealand, how much experience had you had in while you were over there? Because you're not an overly old person now.
No, that's right. I sort of like after finishing school, I worked for Dad for a time, and probably was just looking for a bit of opportunity. I was coming towards the end of my claim, and I was actually sort of weighing up whether if I do stay in the industry or not. I travelled over here with a good horse of Dad's, Pompelia, for the Inter-Dominion Series, the Trotters Inter-Dominion Series, and I got to meet Lance Justice, and then I think through him is my understanding that Jeff actually gave me home and asked if I wanted to come over and work for him. And he sort of, I had about 12 months left on my concession, so he said, we can pencil in at, which I was happy to do, and 10 years later I was still working for him. It was just a great place to work, and really taught me a lot.
And then you decided to branch out on your own?
Yeah, that's while I was working for Jeff, I was lucky enough that he let me have a few horses there or one or two horses there to sort of tinker around with. Action Cosmos was one of them, who won a few country cups, and then Dad was basically retiring, and sort of my sister obviously is in Australia, and then my brother is also in Australia, in Melbourne as well with his family. So it was kind of just that natural progression that Mum and Dad thought, getting a little bit older, they might like to be closer to family rather than, travelling so much. And so, yeah, Dad was keen to obviously still be involved with horses. So it kind of just kind of happened naturally, kind of like that would sort of link up and have a little bit of a play with a couple of horses together.
And Dad's enjoyed, I suppose, the high life. You don't get much higher than winning it into Dominion, but a few other Group 1 races. But Saturday night was your first Group 1 win. It must have been pretty special to especially be able to share it with Dad on the naming, on the training partnership as well, because it's, for the Kiwis that aren't aware, it's the Emmett Bronson and Richard Bronson's training stables basically. So that part must have been, pretty special for a young man. I did see the interview straight after with Gareth Hall, and you were pretty pumped.
Yeah, I was. Probably come off a little bit silly, but it's funny, you get these horses ready for those races, and I knew that he could do the job, but it's still, when it still happened, and I was kind of a little bit still kind of surprised, so you just, probably because you just dream of it for so long to happen, and you work so hard for it, and then when it does happen, a bit of a shock to the system. But I know Dad was really chuffed. He doesn't give you much. He's probably similar to Jeff in that way. He sort of, they don't give you a whole lot, but I know that the old girl was telling me he nearly had a heart attack. So, and then when I call him, he's like, yeah, good.
For our Kiwi friends maybe not aware, we're still on COVID restrictions in country Victoria. We're actually allowed to get out and about, but as far as the racing goes, it's only essential persons on. So I gather Dad was sitting at home watching it. Would have been nice if he could have been there with you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's right. And even for Fred, I think, because he sort of took a bit of a punt sending it to myself. Like, I was only, maybe a season or two into sort of going out on my own, so he sort of did take a bit of a punt sending him to me. So it would have been awesome for him to be there as well, and everyone to enjoy it together. But at the same time, we've got to take the good with the bad and just be so thankful that we can still put these races on and we can still compete.
Yeah, and it's at Bendigo again. Another part for the. It's basically because Melton's been shut down because of the COVID part as well. So it's one of those ones you put the photo on the wall and people are going to go, "Oh, it's a Bendigo win," but it is a metropolitan class meeting. It was a full-on meeting. I'm a bit vocal, but I think Bendigo's a better track than Melton anyway. And I reckon yeah. you might agree with me right at the minute.
I've always because I've got my team is I carry quite a few trotters in my team as well, and I do. It's probably a little, it's a bit further for me to go to Bendigo, but it really, when I saw it was changed to Bendigo, it didn't bother me one bit. In fact, I think Bendigo is probably one of the best tracks in Victoria.
How many horses are you training, mate?
At the moment, I've brought a couple in, so I've got up to about 12 now, but I was floating around the 9 mark.
That'll keep you and Dad, obviously, that'll keep you busy.
Yeah, that's good for what we wanted to do now, and whether it sort of grows, but from there we'll just see what takes us. We've got a lot to do on the property though. We've got our facilities, sort of the bones of it to sort of work the horses, and being on the new property, but sheds getting put in, power going to the shed, and all our water facilities and all that sort of stuff. That's a big process. So we didn't want to just go in and just be doing stacks of horses and having no time to, develop the property so that you can actually kind of evolve how you want to.
So you're building a new property. Anyone that's Bannockburn's, I suppose, 15 minutes out of Geelong, maybe 10 minutes out of Geelong, but it's a very nice part of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, so the property's in Meredith, so it's actually not far. It's probably Jeff's place was in Bannockburn, and we're probably about 20, 25 minutes down the road towards Ballarat. We're pretty well bang in the middle between Geelong and Ballarat, and about the same distance from Bannockburn to Melton. So it's not too bad a spot.
It's not dissimilar to New Zealand. It's pretty much green all year round, and a lot of wind.
Very windy. Tell you what, there's no resistance bikes needed out here. I can give you the tip. It's good to have your own place. Look, I couldn't be too choosy, on what we could do sort of financially, but I think it'll all come together quite nice. And I'm just lucky to be in the position I'm in.
I'll get it out and about one day. Once COVID relaxes a little bit more, we'll come and have an on-farm inspection, mate, and showcase it for a lot of our New Zealand friends. What about your driving career, mate, before I let you go? Are you sort of happy to play a backward role a little bit, or is it you're keen to keep driving when you can?
Yeah, I still enjoy the driving aspect of racing. It's more that, but I'm mature enough to know I'm not going to let pride get in the way of any form of success, you know what I mean? If I think the call is right that the horse who's not a low maintenance horse, if I think I've got to have him 150% and then take that out of the equation, leave it to someone like Ants or Chris, then I'm going to do that. I'm saying that, early in the prep, I put my foot down that I sort of did want to have a couple early drives on him just to make sure he was where I needed to be, to make sure that, have just set that prep up right for him.
Yeah, but I think it's very mature. I think when you got someone as good as Anthony Butt, that I don't know how many Group 1 races he's won over the journey, but to have him sitting on the sidelines would have been silly, and he proved that it was a very masterful drive too. A little bit tactical early, but yeah, it was very, very, and proved to be winning because you only won by a pimple. What was the official margin? Half head, and it was a half head for the third horse as well. So yeah, it was a great drive. It was a great race. A little bit gets said about the staying starts and the way that it started, but that's just the way they are now over here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It probably could have been a little bit cleaner. I think he still would have stepped well. It's the same with Robbie Royale. But yeah, I think they have to definitely be more formalised through the state. Seems like every race you go on now, depending on the starter, pardon me, it just seems like you kind of get it. You're in for something different, which I think it should be formalised, and then over time, I think the comfortable with it that he kind of expects and he knows what's about to happen. Like even us watching it as experienced harness racing people who watch it every week, we're kind of like, when's this going to happen, or what's happening here, or why are these people doing another circle? It's just, I think it just has to be more formalised. Maybe that's just an education and process. It's not knocking anyone. I think everyone, just with everything, can always look to improve for our product. But saying that, I am a big supporter of the standing start. So I think they've got a place now racing. That what makes us a little bit different. And people have a different view to that. But probably one of the biggest things I miss about racing in Victoria is the standing start country cups. I used to love those. They were just the best meetings, and that's something of the past now. And some people might say that's for the better, but I actually think you can do it right. They show that overseas in Europe. They can do it right.
Absolutely, a little bit of education. You'll always love a standing start because your first Group 1 winner was a standing start. So you're set in stone now, mate. But yeah, Emmett, thank you very much. As I said, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I think well done to you, well done to Dad, the whole family, your sister as well, Freddie Cruz, he'll be watching this, and of course the other Kiwi, Anthony Butt. He's not sure. He's been on this show a couple of times. I reckon he'd be waiting for me to ring him, but no, I thought we'll go to the main man. But congratulations, mate. How old are you, just for the record?
Yeah, it's a no spring chicken.
How old was it?
34.
Sorry, mate, it broke up the first time. Yeah, you don't throw spring chicken words like that around me. When you're mentioning 34, and a lot of people would be watching this, they'd be like, nah, he's young. Congratulations, mate. 34 years old or young, and you've trained your first Group 1 winner. I think well done. I don't think it'll be your last one. You keep punching, mate, the way you're going. Thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Thank you, Paul.
Rightio, on the New Zealand show now, catching up with Brett Coffey. Firstly, Brett, welcome.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Long time no talk. I think we're still chatting about 12 hours ago. For a lot of our New Zealand friends that may not be aware, we did a show last night called Breed to Succeed Live for Harness Breeders Victoria, and I think they're very well received. Brett, last night's show was an epic one. It was like about 4 shows in one, but they get plenty of people seem to get behind and enjoy them, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's been a really successful series, that Breed to Succeed. Obviously, in its second year now, but yeah, no, it was well. I enjoyed last night's show. I hope everyone else did, and I think there's probably some archive stuff in there that people will be able to refer back to in the future. So yeah, it was good.
A little bit of a background. We just Nick Hooper and Brett basically went through how they go about, I suppose, selecting horses and keeping. I would imagine from your point of view, Brett, keeping up with some of these horses, like you were saying about the North American Cup winner yesterday, and you knew already his pedigree. So they're great tools in that sense, but then also picking horses and the process you go through to actually picking horses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's important to keep looking at everything. It doesn't matter if like you look at all the European results as much as you can, American results, New Zealand results. Like, it's all important. It's all knowledge that you can draw upon, at a later date. So yeah, you've got to keep up with the results worldwide. Go
to Harness Breeders Victoria. I'll be in trouble. I don't know the actual internet, the website, but if you type in Harness Breeders Victoria, it'll come up on a search engine. But go to their Facebook page. And also on YouTube as well, if you want to see those. They're recorded there last night, but they're all there archived. The year before was there as well. Hopefully next year we can do a little bit like the Kiwis do, where they can get out and actually, I suppose, meet and greet and shake hands a bit, Brett.
Hopefully. Who knows though? Who knows? I don't know. It's hasn't been great, but anyway. Well, what do you do?
Oh, that's exactly right. I wear a few hats and we cross over a little bit, but this New Zealand show obviously is sponsored by a couple of the other studs, but I want to promote what you guys are doing. Probably more importantly, I want to touch on Lazarus and his book being closed, and there's lots of people, rumours and all the rest, and I will say you floored me just there before, but you've closed his book for legitimate reasons. He's actually at a reasonable cap.
Yeah. So we closed it. It's around 150. It's just a little bit below, but around that number. So yeah, basically, we want to try and do the very best by the stallion and do our very best to get pregnancies with him. So we've closed it at what we think is a good number and a fair number. So his early collects have been really good so far since he's been at the farm, which is nice. So now it's just a matter of getting it in some mares and hopefully getting some pregnancies. But so far so good, and yeah, his popularity with breeders, especially in New Zealand, has been really strong.
I think he's one of those horses too. Mark Hughes, Pat Driscoll, they all talk about horses going overseas and taking on the best in the world and the likes. Like, he won our best races, the Inter-Dominion in Perth. I was fortunate enough to be there that night. I was actually fortunate enough I actually held him while he got hosed because of a little bit of an issue. But he was such a rock star here. But then to go to North America and perform the way that he did, and with a few adversities while he was over there.
Yeah, for sure. If you're being honest, he wasn't at the peak when he went over there. He was. Probably that season before, if he had gone over, he would have been even better. But yeah, you speak of him being a rock star. I remember I was lucky enough to be up there when he had his first start in North America, and he was so popular there. The crowd loved him. After he won that the Dan Patch Invitational, the crowd around the winner's circle was incredible, and it was a real buzz to be there for that sort of historic win, I suppose. But yeah, he went on that season and competed at the that top level of free for all paces off a really limited preparation, which I think is important to remember as well. Sometimes those horses generally take a while to acclimatise and stuff like that. It's a completely different racing scene to what he would have been used to down here. But yeah, no, he competed with the best of them.
your position? Like you are, what is your official title there at Alabar?
General manager of Alabar Australia. So
Yep, that's okay. I was going to be in trouble. Do you get excited or nervous about this part now with him? Like, is it actually excitement that?
oh yeah, excited. Yeah, nervously excited. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you get. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean he's you know I think in like recent times especially for me he's one of the best pacers that we've seen in recent times. I think most people as well would rank him up there with Blacks of Fake and on the Mighty Quinn and those sort of horses. And probably if you're from New Zealand, you probably rank him above those horses. So so to play a part in his stud career would it's exciting. And if you're involved in the stud business and you don't get excited by standing horses like him, then you probably should be looking for a different job. So it's just a thrill to stand those sort of horses.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's exciting. I think well done to you guys for getting him over there to New Zealand. I think where he will be, well and truly patronised. Us Aussies we can get a little bit fickle very quickly, can't we? With certain breeding, we spoke about that last night. We can get our mind set up, and the likes was. I think he's going to be well received in New Zealand.
Yeah, I think he will be. Yeah, and that's a credit to to TaylorMade Farms who reached out and were more than willing to try and help out and try and get his stud career back on track a little bit, I suppose. And it's really exciting right on the eve of the stud season with him. So
here in Australia, mate, you guys have got a huge book of stallions. In New Zealand, you've got 4 horses on there. You've got 2 of them. You might have 3 of the paces all booked out, have you?
3 paces are booked out. Yeah.
I just realised as I was looking, Better's Wish, Captain Crunch, who was incredibly well received, wasn't he? Standing last season and again this season.
Sorry, he still has bookings in New Zealand, I should say, Captain Crunch. So he's fully booked in Australia, but there's still bookings available to him in New Zealand. So I reckon once people start seeing his foals, if they're anything like what he produces in North America, I think he's going to be popular again. So, but yeah, he's fully booked in New Zealand and Australia, but still bookings available in NZ. So.
And Better's Wish, obviously another son of Better's Delight, he is booked out in New Zealand, is he already?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So he's serving a restricted book. He's actually a rig, so he doesn't. He's not a massive producer. So we have to restrict his book to a number which he can serve. So, but he booked out. Oh God, I don't know. It was in a matter of hours and days. So he was super popular, and given his race record and pedigree, you can sort of understand why. But so it's exciting to have him at stud as well.
And then the other, the horse, the trotter that just, I suppose he never really gets the right raps in Majestic Sun. I'm not sure the New Zealanders, they might rap him a little bit more, but over here, he doesn't get the accolades, does he?
No, he doesn't. It's funny, like you're talking about the fashion of the sport and stuff like that, but I reckon if he was available via Frozen Seaman and had maybe had I don't know, from another country, well, it'd be more popular. But I don't know. Like he's done just an incredible job, continually, leading sire in both countries. Like last year in Australia, he was the leading sire of prize money and winners of 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and all age. Like that just doesn't happen that very often. I think Fake Left might have been the last one to do that in Australia, and just keeps leaving good horses. Sunday Sun, won on the weekend. At Addington, he's the best trotter in the Southern Hemisphere, and just an incredible stallion. Incredible stallion.
And it's a good draft. I was fortunate enough, I was over there for the weanling sales. I'm hoping very much to get there for the yearling sales at least. I had ambitions in New Zealand Cup, but I reckon that's pie in the sky sort of stuff, but hopefully next year be able to get there. Woodland Stud, they sponsor me, but you guys also had equally a huge draft. You've got a lot of horses there, and you're very big player over there in New Zealand, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, Graham and the team do a great job over there. I think they sold 50 odd at that weanling sale. They're sort of just starting to dip their toes back into the yearling sale market a little bit, but predominantly that weanling sale market is where they sell most of their horses. But they do a great job. Breed good horses, good sellers, and then the results on the track speak for themselves as well. So it's a really they run a really good ship over there.
It's different, isn't it? Over here in Australia, to sell a weanling is very hard. To sell a weanling in New Zealand, it just seems to fit.
Yeah, it does, and I think that's that's a sign of the maturity of the market, I suppose, because they've done it for a long time, and I suppose the buyers get confidence because there's a big draft of weanlings. Like, so, as I said, like, I think Alabar NZ sold 4 yearlings at the sale this year, and that's the first time they've sold the yearling sales for ages. But prior to that, like, it's just basically the whole draft, weanling crop goes through the sales as a weanling. So everything there's for sale. Everyone knows that, and it gives people a good opportunity to pick up a horse at a reasonable price, and they know that's they haven't picked the eyes out of it, I suppose, and there's going to be good horses that come out of that sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, you guys have got one of the biggest rosters of stallions this season here in Australia and effectively New Zealand. I did ask you why so many, and I think the answer was we don't say no. That was roughly?
I would agree. I think it's just sort of worked out that way. I mean, it's they're all really good horses. Like, it's and there's some really exciting young horses there, and we've we have in the last few years really gone quite heavily into the the local bred stallions, which is something where we want to back them really strongly because we believe that our horses are as good as any in the world, and they're really well bred horses. But it's also just I think there's a little bit of an inefficiency there where I think sometimes people overlook them just because they're locally bred. But when you look at horses, they're all we've got Elite Stride by Muscle Hill. And Elite Stride's a phenomenally bred horse out of an American bred mare. So it's the same product as what you can get from North America, but he's done it down here on our tracks, and now you get to breed to him at a really reasonable fee. But horses like that, and we've got tons of Bettor's Delight, Art Major, Rock and Roll Hanover. These are all elite stallions. We sort of think that there's really good value there and good opportunity for breeders.
It is, and you've got a huge range, and I encourage anyone to go to Alabar. Just type in Alabar on your website, and it'll actually come up. Alabar Farms, I think, but if you type in Alabar, it definitely comes up, and look at them all. And this year, and I'm not sure where Elite Stride's at because he's not retired, I know that, but he's got an injury-enforced layoff just at the minute, but he will come back to racing. But you've also got 2 horses, which unfortunately for the Kiwis aren't going to be able to breed to because of quarantine issues, basically, in Ride High and Be Happy Mac, because they're going to be staying in full work. I think Ride High is down to trial tomorrow or the next day, is he?
Ride High, not yet. He's a little bit further away. Be Happy Mac is meant to be trialling tomorrow or tonight. Sorry. Yep. But I haven't actually seen the trial fields yet, so I don't know whether but he's really close as well. So they're both in work at Emma and Clayton's. They're at Cardigan, and so something new, something a bit challenging. It's a little bit different to what we're used to, but they're both really good horses and worth the sort of challenges that we're going. It's not that bad to do it, but it's just different. It's having horses, in a racing environment, collecting them. They're going across the road to Yabby Dam to get collected, and so it's just a few more moving parts than what we're normally used to, I suppose.
It's very European in a way, isn't it? We were speaking last night about how in France especially, you can only take the mares to the farm where the stallions stand. That would be a logistical nightmare for anyone hasn't been to Emma and Clayton's place. I don't think they need more horses coming in a flight to be served. But it is that way that they continue to race them, and they've done it successfully for so many years. I think it was a Bold Eagles 10, Tomoko I think was 10, served full books of mares for 4 or 5 years and still raced successfully.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And closer to home, you've seen it with Bling It On, up at Cobbity there. They've done that well.
Yep.
So it can be done, and I'm going to give it a good crack this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I wouldn't want to be the general manager. Just try to juggle all the collections and the dates and the times.
It is good. Like Clayton's been, outstanding, like really good to work with, and same with Sarah over at Yabby Dam, Sarah Gray there at Yabidan Farm. So they've both been really good to deal with, which has made it, made the process, a lot easier.
I've got to get all my hats. I do have a Harasta Trotters hat. They are sponsor. I don't know which one it comes under, Harasta Trotters or Yabidan, when you're doing what you're doing. I actually get myself very, very confused. Nutrien and this modern, don't even have that hat. How good am I going? The Nutrien sale just recently, though, Brett, you say about this model of looking after the dirty word, colonial, but Australian and New Zealand bred horses to race and then stand at stud. You guys put your hands in your pockets, a long way to buy the Unballalur Father Patrick colt at the sales. One, how's he broken in and how's he progressing?
Good, yeah. So he's been broken in and he's back for his first prep after that. So far, so good. Beautiful trotter. He's with Andy Gath, obviously. So Andy's said he had really good gait, really willing to work with you, and very sensible. So that's all, 3 ticks there. And then it's just Andy sent me a video of him last week. So he's I don't profess to know a lot about breaking in horses or early work with horses or anything like that, but he looks to me like he's just got a really effortless, beautiful gait on him. So that's, I presume that's a big plus for a trotter. So
yeah. Oh, it is, and he wasn't cheap. I was fortunate enough to be there the day that you purchased him, and I know the look on your face was like, "Oh, we're going again! Oh, we're going again!" And it was great to have. Yeah. It was actually great to have Alan there. To basically, I mean, he was telling you to keep going.
Well, he was, yeah. We wouldn't have bought him if Alan wasn't there. So I think we had a limit in mind, and it was a fair bit less than what we ended up paying for him. So. But he was, he was a beautiful colt, and we did our research before, and as confident as he can be about things. We really liked him. He was, a very special colt to look at, and had a real presence about him. And even when you just saw him walking around the complex, your eye was, he just, really, you just had to look at him. You couldn't turn away from him. He was just a real standout type of colt. And obviously his pedigree, backed it up. And then, I remember going back and watching, I think, every replay of Unballalur as a 3-year-old filly, and that gave you a lot of confidence. He thought, shit, if this colt can be, can do something like she did as a 3-year-old, well, he's gonna repay for himself. So, but yeah, it was pretty nervous, to be honest, spending that much money on a horse, and probably pretty stupid, really. But hopefully it works out in the long term.
Anyone that knows sales, the NZB boys will. I was actually the pew just in front of them, and the looks were going past me, and I'm thinking, I hope they're not looking at me once it started getting dearer and dearer. I must say.
Oh yeah, and we're up against a formidable opponent in Jim Conley on that colt, and obviously he's. I don't know, for New Zealand people, he's bought a lot of good horses over the years, and a lot of sale toppers, and he's a very determined bidder. So it was. I don't know. Hope it was entertaining for people there watching it.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But I think this is the next stage of where Alabama are heading, if you like, because this horse has been purpose bought as a future stay-in. And hopefully a race winner, but it's an exciting next chapter, I suppose, in the studs, where a lot of studs, may not look down that path. Woodlands, they race a lot of their fillies and the likes, but to actually purchase a colt to put it back into the stallion market down the track, if he's good enough, and I got no doubt that if he's not good enough, you guys probably don't do that. But if he's good enough, and that, it's a pretty exciting next phase, I suppose.
Oh, it's really exciting, yeah, and that's part of the business. You got to be excited by these sort of things. We're under no illusions that it's still a long shot. He has to be a really good horse to stand at stud. That's all. What he's not going to stand at stud if he's just average. You need to be a really, really good race performer, and that's sort of what and show that brilliance, and that's sort of what we look for in a stallion. They've got to show brilliance at some point in their career. So that's what he has to do, and hopefully he does. We'll see. But so far so good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to follow the journey. I think it's great. I think it's what yearling sales are about. When you see people purchase a horse, and then 3 or 4 years later, you might see them winning Inter Dominion or something along those lines. For my Kiwi friends, if they're not sure, he only has to be as good as Mum, because Mum actually won a Derby. So there's not many fillies can turn around and say that they've been able to win a Victorian Trotters Derby, but she was a jet.
That's sort of, yeah, she was. I sort of remembered her, and obviously knew she won a Derby and that sort of thing. But then I went back and watched her replays and thought, shit, she was actually really, really good. Like as a 3-year-old, she was incredible, really. And like she beat, Anton had a stack of good 3-year-old fillies that year, including Dance Grays, and she beat her, multiple times, which was nice on after a 3-year-old days. But she was a brilliant 3-year-old.
Internet just started playing up. Brett, thank you very much. Anyone wants to know, in New Zealand, still some service fees available to Captain Crunch and Majestic Sun there, but great to hear that Lazarus is booked out. And please go to alabar.com.au, I reckon is what it is off the top of my head, but am I right?
Yeah, you are, yeah. And you also, for the Kiwis, it's alabar.co.nz. So, still bookings available for those stallions. And obviously we've got, some new ones available, like Ultimate Sniper. He's an exciting horse that the Kiwis obviously really would know. Brilliant Inter Dominion winner. So he's one we're really looking forward to offering as well to breeders.
Yep, and have a look.
With Nebly are stud as well, I should add as well. They've been great partners with us, we took the plunge with Ultimate Sniper. So hopefully we get rewarded down the track.
Brett, thank you very much for joining me. As I said to people at the start of this little interview, go to the Harness Breeders Victoria 2 if you want to see a lighter side of Brett. We were very sensible last night, I think, and a bit of fun, but go and watch the breeding seminars as well. But thanks very much for your time, Brett. I really, really appreciate it, and a bit of insight. And it's great to hear Lazarus's book has been closed, but it's been closed pretty much because it's full. It's not limited numbers, which is huge news. So thank you very much for joining me, mate.
No worries at all, Paul.